Hey, welcome to the Siren Pod Weekly podcast, where I share empowering channeled messages from spirit, stories, and music. I'm Bree with Cosmic Siren, and I help quirky and curious souls trust their intuition, express their truth, and embody their beautifully unique selves to open them up to the life and soulmate connections that they've always envisioned for themselves. This is a very safe space. All are very welcome. So usually I like to share messages from my life in order to help you grow and learn something. I worked with an intuitive coach and they worked with human design. And a part of my human design profile is literally making so many mistakes and quote unquote failing. So basically, my whole life is pretty much a struggle, also that I can share these experiences with others so that they can learn and not have to struggle through what I did. So I'm going to pull messages through the tarot to see which story from my life I can share with you guys today that will be the most empowering for you. So let's pull some cards. Okay, I have the Four of Swords reverse, the Three of Wands reverse, the Lovers, and the Page of Swords reversed. And for a hidden meeting at the bottom of the deck, we have Nine of Swords. Okay, let's talk about these cards. So I have the Four of Swords reverse and Three of Wands reverse. So I am getting this energy of feeling trapped, feeling stagnant, feeling like I'm being held in a place where I don't feel like I'm thriving or belonging. I do have the Lover's card, which does indicate to me that there was a huge connection. I'm feeling romantic connection in which I was choosing to stay in, right? While I was feeling trapped in these feelings. Then I do have the Page of Swords in reverse, which would indicate someone that isn't being very clear or decisive on their intentions or where they want to go. At the bottom of the deck, which for me is something like hidden, a hidden message that I should pay attention to, is the Nine of Swords in reverse. So feeling a lot of mental anguish, a lot of anxiety, a lot of pain, and feeling like I'm having to suffer or sacrifice myself in order to alleviate someone else's pain. And then underneath that, we have the Star, which is, feeling hopeful. I feel like this story is talking about one of my most recent relationships. And so I will share that story with you. I think it's this, I'm going to start it now, but I'll pull more cards as I share my story to see what I should focus on. But I feel like it's going to be a message of just because there is love does not mean that it's the most supportive for you. Just because you have very strong feelings for someone, just because you envision a life with someone and what it could be, doesn't mean that that's the best path for you. And that's the message that I'm getting right now, and we will clarify as we go on. I think it'll be easier for me if I tell this story from third person, just so I'm like kind of removed from it a little bit, and then it will help me out. So, once upon a dream, there was a girl. She was in her second year of college, and she was in a relationship that she was happy in at the time. She had a normal life. She was going to school, she was studying what she was passionate about, she had friends to hang out with, and she was going to one of those friends' places to celebrate their new home, their new beginning. And all was relatively normal. There wasn't anything drastic going on. It felt like a normal day to day. There wasn't anything out of the unusual. And while at this friend's home, she was introduced to a friend of a friend. And when she saw this person for the first time, and when they locked eyes, and when they began talking, something happened. She immediately was transported to another world, another life where she and this person had a life together. And she watched him die in a war and never come back. And there was this feeling of, we will find each other. I promise we will find each other. And then she was transported back to this conversation with this friend of the friend who she just met. And in that moment, she had that statement echoing, I will find you. I found you. You're here. It's me. Do you recognize me? And she realized in that moment that this person didn't recognize her. This person wasn't awake. She was talking to this person, to this soul that she just saw a life with, and they don't recognize her. And she felt overwhelmed. She felt sad. She felt confused. After that 2-minute conversation with a friend of the friend, and then he left, she was left with a change. Something shifted. Her life has completely changed. She was living a completely normal life, didn't know what she believed in, had never had this type of encounter before, and yet now here she was, a normal college student who just saw a past life with someone that she just had a 2-minute conversation with, and then she felt like she was losing her mind. She felt like she was having some mental breakdown. She felt like, what the heck is happening? What was that? Am I making this up? Like, what just happened? And so she shoved it deep inside. She begged the world to please let her forget, to please not let this happen. This is not happening. I can't, what's happening? Am I going through a mental breakdown? What is going on? That's all the thoughts she was thinking. And so she pushed it down. She said, I want to forget. Just let this forget. And this knowing echoed in her mind, it's not ready. Wait 10 years. It's not ready. And so she pushed it down. It took only a few days and she was back to her normal life. It was as if she had completely forgotten. She went back to her normal studies. She went back to her normal friends. She went back to her normal life. That one glimpse of that fantasy world was lost. And fast forward to literally 10 years later, she was in the middle of a breaking point in her life. She had found love, had gotten married, and now she was going through a separation and going through a divorce. And she was feeling so lost, so alone, but on the steps to saying yes to herself in this completely normal life. And she was hanging out with this same friend again and was looking at their new home, the new space that they had been in for a while, just that she had never visited to. And this friend connected her again with this friend of a friend again. And the friend asked, oh, you may remember him. I don't know if you do. And she looked at him and they locked eyes again. And when they both said, hey, in that split second, the memory from 10 years ago of meeting him and having a 2-minute conversation flashed before her eyes. And she immediately said, oh, are you that person that shared a closet with my friend? I met you for a few minutes. And he remembered. And in that moment, there was just this inner knowing. Something just kept echoing. He's the one. Your life's about to change. And after that, something shifted. Everything changed after that moment. The signs, the synchronicities. This woman now, she was more connected with her feelings. She was more connected with her intuition. She was more open to things that can't be logically explained, but she still wasn't aware. She still didn't know. She still didn't know what she believed in. And yet, there were things and instances and feelings that she couldn't logically explain. But now she was ready to receive. She was ready to be open to what this may mean. And so she and this new friend started spending time together. She couldn't explain it. It felt like this feeling of being at home. There was an immediate sense of trust, feeling like I already know you. When she was with this person in the beginning, she couldn't explain it. It felt, she could feel energy. It felt warm. When they first touched for the first time, that place where they first touched, it was on fire. She could feel the energy in the room when they were together, and it felt like everything was mixing and churning, and she wasn't sure what the heck was going on. What is happening right now? What's going on? What is this feeling? And it's not something she could logically explain, and so she just let it be. She just accepted it. She's like, well, it is what it is. I'll just surrender into it. And on the outside, their relationship looked pretty unconventional. They spent so much time together. They traveled outside the state within a few months of knowing each other. They traveled outside the country within 8 months of knowing each other. They experienced and adventured a new world together that they've never experienced before. They've been to the land of ice and fire. They hiked glaciers together. They hiked a volcano together. They experienced the magic of the world together, and they barely even knew each other. Yet there was this sense of trust and understanding and respect immediately when they knew each other, and that can't be explained by logic. Neither of them could explain it right, but they didn't resist. They just accepted. They just surrendered. And they both realized that that feeling that they both had when they met each other, that had never gone away, the feeling that they were trying to define, it was just unconditional love. It's not romantic, it's platonic, not platonic, it was just unconditional love. And it's because their souls already felt that way. This woman remembered that past lifetime that she had buried so deep down, and she realized it's because she already knew this person in another life. And meeting him again in this lifetime, it shifted something for her. To have this type of soul connection, to have this type of soul bond, she had never experienced it before. This was the first time in her life. And this depth, this level of intimacy, this level of love was something she had never experienced before, and she wanted to hold on to it. There's no way that this love could steer her wrong. It was like almost that of a fairy tale, right? And with time, she started doubting herself. She felt trapped in this love, but she felt like she wasn't making a move. She wasn't going anywhere. She had dreams, she had aspirations, she has goals, but she was staying still. She was staying stagnant. She was staying in place so that she could be with this love. She had told him her desires and dreams of living outside another city, which he agreed to. She told him her desires and passions of leaving her workplace and going after her creative dreams, and he supported that. She expressed herself more authentically, showed up for herself more, and he supported that as well. He was such a very huge support for her, loved her for who she unconditionally was, and lifted her up. And she had no words for that. She appreciated that way more than he would ever understand. And yet, she was stuck. Nothing was changing between them. He didn't choose to move forward. He didn't want to exit the garden. He was happy, he was content, he was comfortable inside his castle with her. And while she loved what they had, and while she loved what they created, she wanted more than just living in a garden in a castle. She wanted to explore. She wanted to go out into the unknown, and she wanted to figure out the rest of the world and the universe and what it had to offer. But she didn't want to do it alone. But this stagnancy, this feeling of feeling trapped, it was too much. She felt like she was bound in place, and that even if this great love was there that she had never experienced before, it wasn't enough for her. She needed more. Love wasn't enough. She needed more action. She needed change. She needed growth. This woman, she was on a different path. This woman was constantly changing and growing and expanding and didn't realize how magical she was. And she was being held back and contained in this little bubble. She knew that to expand even more and to express herself more fully, she had to exit the bubble. She had to exit the castle. She had to leave the garden. She had to go to the places that made her feel more uncomfortable so she can get past them and grow. Even if that meant she had to leave this love behind. She couldn't force him to come with her. She couldn't force him to want to change or grow. She couldn't force him to want something different. Yes, they loved each other deeply, expansively, but they didn't want the same thing. They appreciated different comforts. They didn't want the same life. And that was hard for her to accept. She stayed trapped and bound inside that castle and garden for longer than she should have. But there were no regrets. She loved the space that they created. She loved the life that they created. But she still had to leave. And so she did. She wandered to outside spaces. She wanted to make a new home for herself. And she did it alone. She climbed up a ladder that she had no idea where it was going, but she did see the light. No one else could see this light. He couldn't see the light. Her friends and family couldn't see the light. Only she could see the light, but she trusted it. And she kept climbing and climbing and climbing the ladder, just moving one step forward towards the light, towards her yes, knowing that this intuitively is where she should go, is where she belongs, even if that meant no one else was climbing up with her. I pulled Six of Swords, reverse, and Nine of Cups. This decision to leave, to travel a path no one's traveled before, it was difficult. It was hard. There were so many moments where she would be standing at the edge of the garden, wanting to take a step forward. But when she would turn around and see her love waiting for her, would see her love asking her to stay, she would stop because she thought, he needs me. Other people need me here. I should stay. I'm fine here. I can make it work. I don't want to make anyone sad. Those thoughts kept playing in her head over and over. But at some point, she realized, I'm not thriving here. I'm not flourishing. I feel stuck. Feeling okay, feeling fine, isn't what makes me happy. I'm not passionate. I'm not excited to be here. They will be okay. He will be okay without me. Everyone will be okay. The castle will still be here. The flowers will still bloom. I have to find my own home. I have to find a place that makes me feel lit up inside, that makes me feel like I can take a nice deep breath. I have to go to a place where I'm allowed to expand and grow indefinitely. And in order to do this, she had to clear some fears that she had. She had to clear those thoughts. She was afraid. She thought, what if I go somewhere else and I'm not happy there? What if I go to this new space and I don't make any friends? What if I try to follow my dreams and I was wrong? I fail. And she realized this wasn't really about the other person, her love, her friends, her family. This was about her. She was afraid. She had been trapped and caged for most of her life and isolated, that it was all too familiar for her. She was afraid of moving beyond because she had never been beyond before, even though it had been everything that she always wanted to explore, to express herself, to be unbound. It was a scary feeling. So she just did the one next best step. She pivoted once toward her yes. I'm going to pick a city. I'm going to pick a new space, a new land, and I'm going to move there. And I have to try it out. She thought, if I can make it bloom and grow where I am now, when I'm not even feeling passionate, just think of the home I could create in a place that supports my creativity and expression. I know I can do this. If I can do it now, I can do it in any space. And so she connected with herself. She connected with her feelings. She acknowledged her feelings. She acknowledged her fears and gave them space. She hugged her fears. She cuddled her fears. She gave them space to express themselves. She connected with the younger part of herself, the childhood part of herself, her inner child, and talked to her inner child and told her, I know you're afraid. I know you're scared. You've been trapped for so long. You've been hiding yourself for so long. It's scary to show yourself. But look, this person loves you so much. He wanted you to express yourself so authentically, and you did. He supported every decision you've ever made toward yourself, and he loved you even more, seeing yourself bloom more authentically. There will be more people like him in this place that you're going. There will be other people and souls that love and support you. You already know what it feels like to stay trapped. You already know what it feels like to lead your life with fear. Let's play a game. Let's see what will happen. You're afraid anyway. Let's do something different. We already know what it's like to be here. What's the worst thing that could happen? Let's go to the new space. Let's go on an adventure. If it doesn't work out, we'll come back. But what's scarier to you? My inner child, I love you so much. But this place is the scariest place for me. There's no way that us going on an adventure and following our dreams could lead us to any scarier place than now, feeling trapped and isolated and bound. And something happened. Her inner child felt more free, more supported. Her inner child felt heard and seen. Her inner child wasn't afraid anymore. And that was all it took, the confidence boost, for the woman to just finally decide to leave the garden, to leave the castle, and to go on a long adventure. And when she did, everything changed. The people that she met, she's never met before. So many people think like her, view the world like her, think about relationships like her. They express themselves differently and uniquely, just like her. No one made fun of her. Everyone was following their passions. Everyone was following their creative dreams. Everyone was hustling. This new land she found, there were people full of hope and wonder and magic and creativity, and it was just the energy. Once she moved to this new space, she really felt supported by the energy of this new land. She felt, I can do it here. I can follow my dreams. I can make friends. I can find my soul family. This is the space I'm meant to be. And I can't believe I didn't move here sooner. I can't believe I didn't explore this world sooner. I can't wait to explore more of this world. Her mindset shifted. Her beliefs changed. Something inside her changed. Her energy shifted. There was more hope, more trust that she was meant to have the life that she's always envisioned for herself. Since entering to this new land, this new space, she came into this personal power of, I am connected. This woman has never felt more connected in her life, connected with herself, who she is, her inner voice, connected with the energies around her, just the nature, the people, thoughts, and emotions. Moving to this new land unlocked a new gift with her, and that's feeling connected. No matter what she's doing, no matter what her day looks like, she's always connected to the space, to the place, to the intentions. She's connected to the energy of the objects, the energy of the people, the energy of everything and everyone around her. And with that, she's never alone. She's connected more with what makes her feel alive, what inspires her. She's connected more with the energy behind yes and the energy behind no. She's learned to constantly live in the energy of yes. And when she does, she notices abundance, more aligned connections coming in, more opportunities finding her, more spaces and places that were meant to connect with her, that were meant to open her eyes to what could possibly be. She's more connected to her inner child and what makes her feel joyful. And she's ultimately more connected to truth. And she might not have been able to ever unlock this gift of feeling connected if she didn't initially trust her inner truth that she was living in a no this whole entire time. That even with this person that she loved so deeply, she was still living in a no. She realized that it didn't matter how things looked on the outside or on paper. She realized just because there's a beautiful garden, a beautiful castle, and a person who loves you so deeply, that doesn't mean that it's the life that you're meant for. If on the inside you're feeling constricted, you're feeling, what else is there? You're feeling something's off, something's wrong. You're feeling dull. You're feeling like you're not thriving. The outside doesn't matter if on the inside you're not feeling good. And while she had to let go of this love and let go of this life, she was able to open herself up to and welcome in energies that felt more supportive, more aligned, that made her soul sing. And she realized there's never a path that's wrong or a path that's right. There are only paths that are aligned. And now she's very grateful because she's living an aligned path. She feels more supported than ever. She feels more trusting than ever. And she feels very, very connected. And to close out this tale, we have Rose, crack open. Rose adores poetry, but despite popular belief, she simply can't countenance mushy love. Rose knows that to experience love in full, you need to be a strong vessel while at the same time cracking open. A contradiction? No more contradiction than flowers and thorns, murmurs Rose. Rose reminds you to embrace dualities and say both and instead of either or. Often we're much better at loving others than we are at loving ourselves. How to break the habit, look at the big picture. What kind of friend are you? How do you care for, nurture, or protect the people you love? How do you care for, nurture, or protect yourself? If your soul had a color, what color would it be? When we can't see ourselves whole, we pick and pull at our tiny imperfections, turning them into gaping wounds and fatal flaws. See yourself whole against the sky. All right, that ends our Siren tale for today. Let me know what resonated for you, what message from the story really connected with you. And to continue channeling stories meant to help you and support you, please continue subscribing, like, or comment so I can continue connecting with your energy. And if you'd like some support and guidance on how to trust yourself, I am launching a course on helping you connect with your intuition, getting very clear on the energy behind your own yes and no, helping guide you through the differences between your intuition and your ego. It'll help you step by step on how to pivot so that you can live the life you've always envisioned for yourself and connect with people who really value you, support you, and love you. I'll put a link below where you can enter your email and get notified when my course launches, and I'll give you access to the pre-sale price. As always, take what resonates, leave what doesn't. I'm sending you warm wishes and soothing hugs.